Hey yo, what is going on, viewers of the tube? My name is Tyler and welcome to the channel that knew an altcoin bounce was coming for a few cryptos. And since it happened, I just want to
dance. I like to dance. I wanna dance. I need to dance, baby. You wanna dance? Plain 40's on this mic. We about to do this right. That's right. All dancing, please don't fight. Move into the morning light.
Oh yes, Flint. Chico Crypto loves to dance. You know the breakdown. It's time for Chico Crypto. Well, if you don't know what I'm talking about from that Flint clip, the bounce came for the altcoins yesterday, especially some of my staking DeFi picks from yesterday's video. ZeroX, which has been pumping like mad lately, had the worst bounce, gaining about 3% against Bitcoin. Next was that stinky Link with about a 9.5% gain against Bitcoin. And finally, iExec RLC, which bounced oh so hard, up nearly 25% against BTC yesterday. Alt season? Well, hold up guys. Yes, things are looking tasty for altcoins as Bitcoin dominance starts to fade since its peak of over 71% in early September. But Bitcoin is still Big Daddy and will take the entire markets down or up with it. And there are major things that are cause for concern, like there just might not be another parabolic rally like in 2017. Everyone should know I'm a Bitcoin and crypto mega bull. Right now, 95% of my wealth is in crypto. Am I crazy? Probably. But after having the chance to make it in 2013, 2014, and not fully believing and accumulating throughout 2014 to 2016, I know now this may be the next chance to make it big before the next major run. So what are the arguments against another rally? Well, as of right now, the big names representing the space are pieces of dog crap, literally. Owner of one of the largest and most recognized names in the exchange game, CZ Binance, showing that he nor his exchange cares about decentralization or Bitcoin, and only about power, more money, and control. What am I talking about? Well, the exchange wars began last week when OKX CEO Jay Howe questioned CZ and Binance's BNB buyback program. On October 17th, Jay tweeted, "I'd like to raise an interesting question. Binance Q3 has a lower trading volume than Q2. There were more discounts and trading fees. How come Binance BNB Q3 buyback could be more?" At Binance. Jay explains more below and asks, "Does this look weird to me?" No, it doesn't, Jay. It looks weird to me too. But I knew something like this was going to happen once Binance moved to the Binance chain. So here's a list of the Binance burns. As we can see in Q2, they supposedly burned over 2 million BNB. 2 times the amount they burned last quarter, in round 8. Now here's where things don't add up. According to the Binance white paper, the company uses 20% of its profits per quarter to buy back BNB and then burn them subsequently, which they recently changed some wording in the white paper to comply with security laws. But Binance spokespersons have confirmed they still use 20% of their profits for the burn. Binance says the company recorded revenues of $119 million in Q2 and $186 million in Q3. Just right there, the numbers don't add up. As for an over 2x in tokens burns, you would need over 2x the revenue. But it even gets more wonky. Binance in Q3 of 2019 had overall lower trading volumes than in Q2. I mean, Q2 was during the 14K run-up when volumes went absolutely crazy, which you can see from this chart. So obviously that in between Q2, April, May, and June, the volumes were much higher than August, September, and October, Q3, like a lot higher. And in Q3, Binance introduced trading discounts just 2 months ago. Traders are paying lower fees. Volume is twice as low, yet they have more revenue and burn more BNB. Then going to the Binance Chain Explorer, the circulating supply of BNB is 185,474,825, according to Binance. Well, if you added the burned tokens of 48.5 million, you would have over 225 million BNB, more than their hard cap of 200 million. When Binance first released, using Wayback Machine and CoinMarketCap, only 200 million supply, which was correct because they were on the Ethereum chain and couldn't manipulate transactions, block data, burns, and coin supplies because it was decentralized. All of this is some straight up BS lies, everyone, and since Binance owns all validator nodes on the Binance chain, they can do whatever they want, when they want, and how they want to all the tokens that inhabit that chain. from the Binance Chain documentation on validator nodes, aka the DPoS controllers of Binance Chain. The initial validators are selected from trusted members of the Binance community, which is by no means public who they are, because it's freaking Binance, you guys. Here's a tweet from CZ explaining who the validators are. At least we have an application form, and community comments are public. Think of our validators as silent executors for the community. Silent executioners, more like it. And we have some of the biggest names in crypto bowing down to someone who doesn't have decentralization in mind. Anthony Pompliano, the biggest proponent of Bitcoin and decentralization.
If you look at something like Bitcoin, it's the original cryptocurrency, so it's decentralized. We don't know who created it. No one group or individual has control over it. It's got some of these kind of core tenets to what makes it valuable. And what I think a lot of organizations are realizing is, hey, there's some value there, but we want to have control. So we want to create something that looks very similar to that, and they're creating these digital currencies.
Also promotes Binance on a consistent basis. That's why Chip Chodler called him the Binance butt sniffer. Pompliano put together the worst interview I have ever heard in my life. Brown-nosing and pushing out some downright lies. Let's listen to old Pomp kiss some booty. Some CZ booty.
You know, as you and I have talked more and spent a little bit of time together in Singapore, that frankly I was surprised is your approach to a lot of the decisions you make. Not only are one rational and obviously you're a smart guy who a lot of people believe in, you'd be able to build this fairly large company, but also your approach to regulation is quite sober, right? You aren't kind of storming the hill, if you will, with pitchforks, right? You're saying, look, what are the rules there? Let's try to operate within those rules and understand that old kind of, the historic kind of frameworks that have been applied to some of this stuff may not be perfect, but let's do as little as we can to disrupt that, right? Let's not try to step on toes. Let's not try to kind of piss people off or get in the way of regulators or do things they don't want you to do. And I wish that more people kind of saw that side.
Oh, Pomp, if you were not aware of the history of Binance, they have been officially booted from 3 countries, China, Japan, and Hong Kong, for not complying with regulations and operating illegally. Unfortunately, these are some of the biggest influencers and names in crypto, and they are promoting 100% non-decentralized manipulated exchanges and chains, like Binance, Binance Dex, and the Binance Chain. But bad names promoting garbage alone won't prevent another parabolic run. I mean, back after 2013, 2014, you had names like Roger Ver, still saying Mt. Gox was solvent and promoting it.
I'm Roger Ver, longtime Bitcoin advocate and investor. Today I'm at the Mt. Gox World Headquarters in Tokyo, Japan. I had a nice chat with Mt. Gox CEO Mark Karpeles about their current situation. He showed me multiple bank statements as well as letters from banks and lawyers. I'm sure that all the current withdrawal problems at Mt. Gox are being caused by the traditional banking system, not because of a lack of liquidity at Mt. Gox.
And Ripple was made a fully centralized chain, which was promoted, pumped, and still supported to this day by some of the biggest names in crypto, even Ver. Here's from September of this year.
So another fun fact in regards to, I was technically the second person ever involved with Ripple or XRP, whatever you want to call it. So the original idea for it came from Jed McCaleb, as most people probably know. But his idea was that, hey, Roger, I think Bitcoin mining is wasteful. It uses lots of electricity, and and we can accomplish the same thing with using less electricity. So I know, he said that he knows how to make a version of Bitcoin that doesn't require mining, and asked if I would pay for the David Schwartz, who now became the CTO. Said, hey, can you pay this guy's salary to help build it, and I'll guide it and we'll work on it together. So I said, sure, let's give it a try. And I think that was way back in 2012. So technically I was
that's incredible.
The second person ever involved in Ripple.
That's incredible. Wow.
So big names promoting centralized garbage won't. What could? Well, everyone knows about the assault launched against Bitcoin in late 2017, Bitcoin futures from CME. Well, Chris Giancarlo, former CFTC chair who left in April, said just a few days ago that the Trump administration acted to deflate the Bitcoin bubble by allowing the introduction of futures by CME. He said one of the untold stories over the past few years is that the CFTC, the Treasury, the SEC, and the National Economic Director, Gary Cohn, believed the launch of Bitcoin futures would have the impact of popping the Bitcoin bubble. And it worked. It sure did. Everyone knows what happened after December 2017, the month of the CME launch. Down, baby, down. And what's funny, looking at two commodities who had CME futures launched against them for some reason, the charts look oh so same. Gold on the left, pre-futures. Bitcoin on the right, pre-futures. Gold on the left, post-futures. Bitcoin on the right, post-futures. So can Bitcoin go parabolic with a full-on CME assault? Well, Bitcoin did kind of prove it can, going from a low of 3,200 to nearly 14K in under 6 months this year. Nearly a 5x. That is parabolic movement, and CME was in full assault during that time, with average daily volume growing by 250% and open interest growing by 80%. CME's power wasn't enough. Well, here's the thing with backed Bitcoin futures. They were suspiciously halted in December of 2018, when Bitcoin was at its bottom of 3,200, which was only supposed to be for a month, launch in January. Well, March came around and it was delayed still due to CFTC concerns. Back's Bitcoin futures missed the entire parabolic run during 2019, but were finally cleared to go after the price started slipping in August with a go-live date of September 23rd. Now, this is just a theory on my part, but I have a feeling Bakkt is in bed with the Trump administration and the CFTC. These futures aren't here to help Bitcoin, but provide another major hype and hope that turns out to wreck the price. I mean, it is ICE behind Bakkt, and Jeff Sprecher and Kelly Loeffler are the married couple who own ICE and the New York Stock Exchange. Remember, CFTC former chair said the Trump administration sent CME to attack Bitcoin. Well, I wouldn't doubt that they sent ICE and Bakkt too. What do I mean? Well, back in 2017, Jeff said Trump would bring fundamental change to regulation, supporting Trump saying this particular president is going to try to implement what he said he was going to do. He seems to be somewhat fearless in marching throughout his commitments that he made, notwithstanding the backlash from the press and other naysayers. Need more connections? ICE is in bed with Trump? Here are supporters of Lynn Homrich, running for Congress in Georgia's 7th District. Who is that in the middle row? Kelly Loeffler and Jeff Sprecher. And let's just look at Lynn's campaign ad.
Thanks to President Trump's leadership, our economy is booming. In Congress, I'll stand with our president to cut taxes, strengthen small businesses, and create more opportunity for working families. We can't let the Pelosi liberals take us backwards.
Bakkt, they love Trump. Kinda obvious. And Trump, he don't like Bitcoin. He made that public in June of this year with this tweet, calling it thin air, used for drugs and illegal activity, and pumping the good old dollar bill. And just looking at Bakkt's trading volume, peanuts for the first few weeks, but on the 23rd of this month, yesterday, when Bitcoin was getting crushed, the volume has exploded to 4.8 million in 24 hours. And that is why I find it so weird we cannot get information on Bakkt's warehouse's public Bitcoin address, so it can be verified that the Bitcoins are actually there. It's hard to trust anything unless you can verify it with the blockchain, and it's hard to trust Bakkt when they bought the custodian who is looking over the coins. Other institutional products out there like Grayscale have had their holdings public, and then when they moved to a custodian, a third party, Coinbase, unlike Bakkt, they announced the move publicly, so it could be tracked. Is Bakkt actually a bad thing? Well, isn't this such a coincidence? Bakkt announced yesterday they would be launching the first options contracts for their Bitcoin futures, and they would be coming on December 9th. And Kelly said they're excited to leverage the benchmark futures prices. Ruh-roh. And right after, CME launches their own leverage options assault, right out the gate in Q1 of 2020, only 21 days later. Like I said earlier this week, custodian and paper Bitcoin are a direct attack on the hard cap supply of Bitcoin. But just like in that video, things are being done at the development level to force reserves to be proven. But I'm starting early, calling for Bakkt's proof of reserves now. Show us the Bitcoin addresses, buddies. Hashtag Bakkt proof now. Paper CME contracts, they're not enough to stop Bitcoin. Less options, Bakkt, and more are coming. But BTC is the honey badger of money, and the pain will only be temporary. I'll explain more later this week. Cheers. I'll see you next time.